What's going on, everyone? You're back with Down to Mars. I'm Bex.
I'm Nis.
I'm Abby.
And we're glad to have you back here. You know how it goes. We're keeping it real, talking up truth. It's mad because I've been seeing a lot of celebrities. I follow, you know, Alexis Sky. I follow Alexis Sky, yeah, and I've seen recently that she started doing OnlyFans.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Yes, you know where I'm going with this. You know where I'm going with this. Now,
yes.
Don't get me wrong, like, I don't really know her profession or whatever, but I think she's I would say like a video vixen or like a
modelish
model kind of vibes.
Yeah.
So to see her switch lanes into this OnlyFans craze, which it's not just her, like a lot of people have been jumping on. For me, I don't know, it just made me think, is that what the trend is now? Like, is this what everybody's going to be jumping on, making money off? I don't know if I really agree with it. Like, what do you lot
see? But you said switch lanes, but is it really switching lanes? Obviously, she's. I know her to be like she's a model.
Yeah.
She was a stripper originally, innit? Was she?
I think a
bartender,
bartender.
along those lines. But when it comes to OnlyFans, I think obviously we have this perception of it. Yeah, there's a stigma behind it that it's associated with sex work.
People do that all the time. What's your understanding of OnlyFans for those who like don't know about it?
So
what do you think OnlyFans is?
So it is a platform whereby, regardless of what you do, whether you're a creative or anything, there's sportsmen on there. I think the person with the most followers on there is actually a sportswear model. I could be wrong, but I think that's what I read recently. So it's just a platform where you can charge for content. So like extra content, special content. I see DJ Duffy, she's on there. She is now doing like lessons. You can pay to have DJ lessons, or you can ask, like she'll do a video. You ask her a question, you pay, and she'll respond back to your question. So if you want to get into DJ and that kind of thing, she'll help you. So there's obviously the stigma behind it, because now it's very heavily associated with, you know, like cam girls, porn, that kind of thing. But it's not, when you actually go on there, it's not actually just that.
Content.
Yeah. But then I feel like, having said about the whole, it being a bit like, you said to her, sorry, I flopped my... Alexis Sky switching lanes. People put up pictures half naked or pretty much naked on Instagram for free. Do you know what I mean? So if you're gonna hold people to that, then
and she does.
Yeah. So like, what the difference is?
That's where following comes from. Do you know what I mean? So she can charge for it.
The only difference is that she's now profiting from it, and I think if that's what people out here putting up pictures, why not? Why not profit from it?
I don't know, man. I've got funny feelings. I get what you're saying about special content, extra content.
Yeah.
But I just have not a stigma, because I'm not really a judgmental person, but for me personally, I feel a little bit uncomfortable with the idea of selling explicit. If it's
pictures
explicit pictures or videos for money. I think, I'm not a feminist, I'll never claim to be, because, but I think in terms of like progression for women, I think it sets us back a little bit. I just feel like you think that all the power, you get all the power from selling your images for money, but really do you?
See, I disagree.
Do you?
I think women, especially women that are like in that film, in the adult entertainment film or whatever, obviously they have been used for sexual gain or whatever. Like, do you know, and people use it for entertainment. And I think a lot of the time women are sexualized without even. You don't have to ask to be sexualised. You're going to be sexualised as a standard. Do you know what I mean? If you've got breasts and you've got bum, then you don't even have to have breasts. You'll still get sexualised. So I think if you can... I don't see the problem with... Especially when it's... Women are doing it for free. Like Alexa Sky, she's posting these kind of pictures on her Instagram.
Yeah.
You can go on her Instagram, scroll through and see these pictures for free. If she can now start charging people for it, make your money.
Yeah. People are buying houses and all of that.
Yeah. And do you know what it is? I think it's... it comes down to obviously what is comfortable with you, innit? That's obviously, like for me, I don't see myself ever doing it, but I'll never look at someone and say, oh no, you shouldn't be doing that, blah, blah. If that's the quickest way for her to feed her family or, do you know, like survive, then...
People could be out here doing a lot worse.
I'm not going to judge someone for it.
Definitely. And I suppose it is much like a lot of the soliciting sites. Well, not the same as, but there are a lot of websites where women can put their services online and benefit from them, not necessarily like physical sexual relationships, but this internet kind of like frenzy of people sharing images and videos for money. It does something about it doesn't sit right with me personally, innit? I'm not keen.
But what
on
about the idea, like, I know you don't have to actually put your face or body. People have foot fetishes. Yeah.
Ruby Rose made 100k in 2 days, and she was posting pictures that were already on her Instagram.
Finessed, but that's dishonest, didn't she? Finessed
if
everyone.
you can do that,
but finessing someone is a different kettle of fish. Like,
but a lot of them are finessing. Like these pictures, she had flipped. It was like a little pet. It's like looked like someone had done it on paint. Literally, she'd edited out her bra strap, and said, "Oh, like follow my OnlyFans." When you go on the page, it's just her in her bra. Still got her bra on. There's pictures of her folded clothes. She's like, I just moved into my new house. Like,
she's taking a mic.
She's taking a mic.
Is she? 100k. She's like, I'm all for it. I can't lie.
No, I feel you. I don't know if it for me personally, there's a price on like being objectified. But I suppose you can say that women are objectified.
But there's people on Instagram in this day and age, young girls, you know, posting up in underwear or whatever, like for an ad, make it, well, obviously, I suppose if it's an ad, they're getting money for it. But wouldn't you consider that to be it's something similar?
100%.
Do you know what I mean? And they're like doing the same thing, obviously posing explicitly.
It's just a different
attention,
literally.
Because the more engagement,
I think the OnlyFans word now is like a buzzword, obviously, because it's what's popping now.
Yeah, it's popping right now.
Cam girls have been around for years. Like, girls have been selling content for years. Now they have a larger platform, and it's like, okay, she's an OnlyFans girl. Do you know what I mean? You can say that, but it's not anything new.
No, but doesn't make it right. Just because it's getting bigger and more of a trend. The internet. I find that the internet and social media normalizes things that ain't normal. Do you know what I'm saying?
But why is it not normal?
For me, it's not normal. I just feel like, as a woman, I would not want to exchange parts of myself that I believe are private for cash. It's not worth it to me. I couldn't put a price on it. So for me, that's the element that I most dislike.
And is that in terms of like the physical aspect or just in general? Like,
both.
Okay.
Both. Every element of it. Like, I just think that some things are not for social media and some things are not to be capitalized off of. Do you know what I'm saying? For me personally, but I understand when you're saying that means as a means to an end or means to make money for your family. I get it. I do get it. Don't get me wrong. But I just have to think it's social media and you're influencing, as you say, young girls putting up their lingerie pictures, ad money. Like, this is not something that we should be
aspiring to.
No.
But you know what? I think it just comes like it kind of comes with the times. Like, if you look maybe like 10 or 15 years ago, it was like page 3. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's like, oh my God, page 3, blah, blah, blah. Like, it shifts we're going to constantly have
it's just going to keep getting more and more.
Yeah, and as society becomes a lot more, I'd say, accepting of these things, like girls feel comfortable to post like, follow my OnlyFans, you know what I mean? Like, or I don't care whether I'm going to be judged. I'm making money off of it. I'm eating. It's what's paying my bills. I'm going to do it. We're going to see that. But I don't know. I wouldn't do it myself, but I think...
You wouldn't judge somebody that...
No, who am I to judge you? Like, do you know what I mean? I think there's a lot of things that everyone does that goes against the norms or goes against what's morally right. So I think if they're choosing to... They're not even lying down with anyone. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're getting paid, and to do that, I think you have to be you have to be very comfortable in yourself.
Yeah, of course.
You have to be sure of yourself. So to do that, it's not something that's really done lightly. Maybe for some people, but...
I don't think it can be done lightly because it's going to affect the opinions. Like, another reason is as much as I am a very, like, I'm going to do what I want. One thing about me, I'm going to do what I want. But the opinion of those that are close to me, my family and my friends, it does matter to me. It matters to me a lot. And I do not think that my family, that my friends, that my... child, whoever.
I'll be rooting for you, I can't lie.
You're a real one. You're a real one.
Listen, who am I to tell you not to do it?
Yeah, but it's just like, I just feel...
They would judge you.
Yeah, and I feel like I wouldn't want to jeopardise the relationship or the views of my family hold me in high regard. Like, they have a lot of respect for me, and I do think that would definitely change if I did go on a platform like OnlyFans, if I did start posting up lingerie. Do you know what I'm saying?
Did you see though that Black China, obviously, I was on Snapchat the other day, I don't even know why she's on my Snapchat.
China's moral compass. I think we don't need to
She's
talk about
done everything. There's
No,
nothing.
but I'm thinking, wow, like, she
What?
has no, like, shame or anything. Like, the girl is posting on her OnlyFans every second. I'm thinking, what about Dreamer? What's his name? King? Is it King?
She's making bread.
No, I get it.
China's got to live life for you.
100%, but I think my only thing that I would probably say, I'm not saying that I would do OnlyFans, because I'm not saying I would, but I think for me, where I would draw the line probably if I had probably children.
Okay.
Just because I think for me, I'm just like,
yeah, I just couldn't find the
if
words
I
to
was,
say
if I
to
didn't
my
have
son.
children, maybe it'll be a bit like, you know, do my thing, whatever. I'm living for myself. But if I've got children, people actually looking up to me, I think then it's a bit where I would draw the line.
See, I think this is where gender bias kind of comes into play. Just
Why?
hear me out, because when you're talking about obviously your kids and you wouldn't want them to follow suit or see you doing that, you don't want to make them think it's right, But I think when it comes, say you're a male, and you are your means to survive is criminal activity,
Oh God. Oh wow.
No, and you have kids or whatever. But then your baby mum decides she wants to start OnlyFans.
I know you're going with
You
this.
know,
I get
it's like
yeah.
the guy would feel like he's justified in doing what he wants to do, do you know, like to make bread for his kids or whatever. But she's wrong because she's got kids. She shouldn't be skinning out herself on social media or whatever. She wants to provide for her kids, same way he wants to provide for her kid.
I think
What's the difference?
For me, the morals. And you know what? Yeah, both of them are the wrong things to do. But I think, and this is why I would never claim to be a feminist, because I do still have that bias. I do have the bias that you're talking about. I don't obviously want my son to be a criminal, God forbid, innit? If he had that influence, I wouldn't want him to be influenced by it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But more so, my daughter being what I believe is sexually exploited for money, and convinced in her mind that she's liberal, convinced that she's flipped the script and she's now got the cash, but it's still for man's benefit. It's still contributing to like male coercion. I just feel like, for me personally, the morals involved with the two are very different. They are different to me personally.
I disagree.
Yeah, I would say I disagree as well. I mean, I do, to some extent, I do think the only difference is that a criminal, for example, isn't necessarily selling himself as a sense. Like, you're not going to see pictures of him all over the internet or whatever.
But okay, but what he's doing is now going to have a knock-on effect on somebody else's life. Might lead to death. Do you know what I mean?
Of course. That's why I agree.
When she's taking her pictures on
it's not harming
OnlyFans or what, she's not harming anyone.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah. Okay, I do.
But it depends on your view of your privacy and your body.
It's true, but morally though.
Morally,
which one is more wrong?
Yeah,
but this is what I'm saying. I'm confirming I have a bias. I have this gender bias. It's not right, but I have it. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with either of the activities. But when you're saying over a girl over a boy, which, you know, God forbid, which do I prefer, or which for me is more like acceptable?
Criminal activities.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because
That
I
is
feel like,
mad.
I feel like you can come back from that. You can redeem yourself.
Really funny. Look at Kim
If
Kardashian.
someone dies as a result of the job that you sold, how can you redeem yourself?
Look at Kim Kardashian.
How can you redeem yourself? Exactly, yeah, okay, but you can come back from selling.
The pictures will always be there.
It doesn't change who you are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This is what I'm
That
saying
doesn't make you a
about
bad
opinions of
person.
others. It's not. Yeah, you're right. But I'm saying I'm thinking about the opinions of others. I am.
No, I
And
just
that's mad.
disagree.
I think that's a mad opinion.
I feel like so many women.
Disagree. Disagree. Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to discuss that one further because...
No, I don't know.
A perfect example though is that Kim Kardashian. I mean, look how she started off. Look at where she is now, and
Her husband just dragged her the other day on Twitter, please.
But that's
Don't
not
even try.
true.
I know
That's
it's
true,
not.
but only because she's in the public eye, it's like, oh my God,
Okay.
they're having issues in any marriage is gonna, especially if you're in a marriage and one of the parties has a mental health problem.
How do you think Kim Kardashian is explaining that sex tape to her? How do you think when that child views the sex tape, what do you think she's going to say? Without enabling or without saying to your child, this is not enabling them, but almost saying to them that this is okay.
But having sex is okay.
But it's filming it and putting it on the internet.
How many? I'm sure. Have you ever filmed yourself having sex?
Yeah.
You want to do that? Have you ever filmed yourself having sex?
You get me now. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Somebody take me that Hennessy because oh God help.
No, but okay. I'm sure most people.
I don't want any of my private pictures and videos, regardless of
A lot
how
of people
they are on
don't.
the internet.
A lot of people don't, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. So if that happened, you'd still have. If it came out, your sex tape came out, and you, even if you didn't willingly put it out there, you'd have to explain it to your child.
Okay, but
Then you'd still expect to go and live your life as, do you know what I mean? You still expect your child to respect you. You still expect to.
Going back to the point that Nis was saying about if a man being a criminal, if it resulted in somebody dying, how would you explain that to your child? Because I feel like that's worse than explaining, oh yeah, I put out a sex tape.
100%.
You've taken someone's life. Like, obviously, morally, it's still not right to be video.
It's not. No. Why is it not right?
Well, no. To explain that to your kid will be hard.
When you're saying explaining to your kid,
Yeah.
Who have you got in mind? A daughter or a son?
I don't consider
I don't see the
it any
difference.
different. Yeah.
You don't see a difference. I do see the difference.
But that's because you have that gender
Gender
bias.
I do, yeah. But it's reinforced, not just by me, but every single institution that's out there, in his school, by his friends,
What do
by
you mean?
anything he sees on social media. Okay, I feel like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like, explicit sex and like, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're out there.
Provocative.
Very provocative,
Overt.
Very overt sexuality. I feel like it shouldn't, but does definitely contribute to sexual violence, and it comes from males. And I feel like this is them being open, and you have to think, as a young man, to view your mother's sex tape and go out into the world.
That's how he was born. That's how you come into the earth.
Narissa,
Sex is
be
not a
real.
taboo. It's
Be
not a
real.
taboo. No, I'm not going to agree with you on that. Sorry, because I think obviously society has made it that, okay, so it's like you have to tiptoe around the subject. We can't necessarily, like, when someone is really open about their sexual activity, it's like, oh my God, like she's got no shame, she's got no pride. But all of you are behind doors, that's what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're all doing it, but when it comes out...
I encourage open discussion about sex. I don't think that there's anything wrong, and I don't find that to be explicit, because as you say, it's something that we all do. I don't think it's anything that's particularly explicit or, oh my gosh. You know, I'm not a prude, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying, I feel like the overt explicitness and certain like sex tapes and OnlyFans.
So are you saying it's worse to show it to your son than it would
I'm
be
not
to a
saying
daughter?
I'm not saying it's worse. I'm saying, do you think it might encourage almost male coercion or sexual violence? Do you think explicit videos, images on the internet encourages it or contributes to sexual violence?
Obviously, when you're seeing something, then it's more normalised. But at the same time, if your son doesn't see your sex tape, he can still go on Pornhub and view violent porn. Do you know what I mean? That's going to have more of an influence than seeing his mum's.
That's detached from him. He's going to be seeing that video. That isn't a woman that he knows.
But
I don't understand why that
Yeah, I don't get what the issue is.
You don't think that there's an issue?
I don't understand why it will encourage violence, sexual violence. Because
I'm talking about the type of explicit stuff that's out there. I'm talking about the nature of it.
Yeah, obviously, if you're engaging in violent sex and then your sex tape comes out and your son sees that, then he might think that's
everyone's
normal.
gonna have a different idea of like violent sex.
True, but I don't think it matters what the type of sex is. I don't think it matters what type of sex is.
You don't think it encourages?
Violent sex encourages violent sex, of course, but then you can say that about anything.
I suppose. I do understand what you're saying. I personally do think that explicit videos, porn and stuff, I think it contributes massively to sexual violence.
Even if if your sex tape didn't leak, your
There's
son's still
someone out
gonna,
there.
he's still gonna know that sex
access.
exists.
Of course. But every institution around him is going to probably reinforce an attitude where he's not going to have to be as careful as a woman, or can be a bit more rough. Or, you know what I'm saying? This is my point, innit?
Yeah.
And I think it's a bit scary with things like OnlyFans, because they're happy to flood. They're flooding the content. They're happy to let people put where. But the thereafter, do you know what I'm saying? The thereafter, who's monitoring what goes on OnlyFans? Because I don't think it's being monitored. It's obviously not going to be. It's explicit, isn't it? It's over 18 meant to be.
I mean, I'm sure there's rules regarding like rape and stuff. There's
of course.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
It would definitely be monitored in that sense. But when you're paying for it, you're paying for a subscription, so you are agreeing to certain terms. You're agreeing you can view content of that nature, I suppose.
So I think you would agree then that there's definitely a more relaxed attitude towards men viewing sexual content than women.
No.
You don't think there's more of a relaxed attitude towards men viewing?
No, because I think that it's available to all of us.
It's available to all of us, but the attitude that's upheld.
I suppose because a lot of the content that does contain acts of that nature, obviously it's a man that is enforcing the violence. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, in that
scenario, yeah. But then if that's what, if you like it, you like it. Do you know what I mean? If you're into that, you're into that. Whether you're male or female, I don't think it matters. I don't think.
But I do think, on a side note, not on the topic, but not on a side note, I do think it's more common for it to be okay for men to be like openly sexual than women. For example, like you could be walking down the street and a man will like shout, hail at you out the window, whatever. You don't see girls in the car like hailing after a man like, sexy, come here, let me chat, do you know what I mean? Like, come here, and stop in the car or something like that. You don't get that, so it's more common. Like, I do think there is definitely, like you said, even though I don't agree with the gender bias, I do think it is okay. Like,
and I think that's where the fear now comes from, because now it's like women are like taking charge of their sexuality and they're like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm gonna post my naked picture.
Women are more like direct now. I hear people say all the time, I've got slide into his DMs. And that was the thing.
Women shouldn't be sexually free. They shouldn't be.
But I think it's only recently there's even been like a emphasis on like women's sexual pleasure, because before it was just like, oh, the man comes, leave it at that. You just here to make the man come. But now I feel like there's more of a like spotlight on, okay, make your girl come first, what a woman's pleasure, etc.
That's why I think it's a good thing, innit? I think sex obviously is it's very personal to you, innit? So how you consider it, how you view it, whether you're open with it, whether you're quiet with, like, you don't want to share it, that's fine, but it's all to do with you. If you're comfortable sharing your sexual experiences online, I think more people should do that, should be open to doing that, because I don't think that would, a lot of the problems that we do have, we might avoid, because people are a bit more educated on it. There's
when you say sharing your experiences, you mean
in it? No, I'm not saying post your sex.
I mean
like just your experiences and your views. Like be a bit more open with it, because I think with that openness, I really like what Aloni does. And how openly she talks about sex, and do you know what I mean? Her platform is very good, and I think when she first kind of was doing it, everyone was getting at her, and do you know what I mean? Like, oh, what, like, she still gets a lot of hate, do you know what I mean? But she still pushes through, and you can see by the way that her platform has grown that it's something that's necessary and it's good, especially in like the black community. I think we need these spaces, because everyone's doing it. You're all having sex, so why are you scared to talk about what you're doing?
I think what you said there is massively key when you're saying about the black community, because especially like my mum, an old school Jamaican, brought up in Jamaica, you know what I'm saying, in her 50s, like most of our parents, whatever, but her attitude towards sex when I was younger was very prude.
Yeah,
very prude, very taboo, not going to talk about it until I got to sort of like an age where, you know, I needed to speak to her about it, you know what I'm saying, then the conversation started coming, and I think that factor is a lot of things that young black people face, both girls and boys, and it's why there's such like a lack of like understanding and awareness. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree, because I probably would feel more comfortable to speak to my sister than my mum about sexual things, just because I just feel awkward. It's a bit awkward, do you know what I mean? But I feel like I would like it to be, like if I was to be a parent, I would like it to not be awkward. I would like to be able to have an open discussion about things like that, but I just feel like you said, it is a bit
And I think what's mad is that just because you're not talking to your child about sex doesn't mean that they're not doing it. Do you know what I
Of
mean? So when they have got questions or they have got an issue that's come up, because when you start having sex, there are a lot of other factors that come into the mix. And if someone hasn't, sat down and had a frank conversation with you, then you can find yourself in some very compromising situations.
Yeah. But you know what? This is why I kind of respect, well, not kind of, I very much respect Amber Rose. Because look at the background that she came from. She was a stripper. She openly admits being a stripper and talks about her experience. And then she went on to do the slut walk. Yeah. Something which was encouraging a positive attitude towards sex. It wasn't anything explicit. Like, it was just be liberal. Yeah. Be yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I think that more movements like that would definitely help the younger generation, because I think sex is being introduced to them younger and younger.
Yeah.
So I feel like that needs to be something that is looked at, a way to help them express themselves, a place for them to ask questions. And where do they get this? In schools?
Also, just because you are like that way inclined, just because you are sexually free and you are open with it, that doesn't make you a hoe. It doesn't make you a slut. Do you know what I mean? Like, these terms, I think the terms are so dated, because you should be allowed to do what you want with your body, as long as you're being safe and you're being mindful and you're considering these factors. You should be enabled to do as you please, and especially have the opportunity to speak about it, share it, and empower others to do it. And I think obviously as it's a gender bias, because it's women that really suffer the brunt of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very rarely do you see men being called, oh, he's a slut.
No, of course not.
You don't
get me
It's
wrong.
called trash, but
Don't get me wrong. As much as I'm saying I would never do exchange private stuff for money, I don't think that women who do should be shamed.
Yeah.
I think it's disgusting.
And I agree.
That is the one part of it that I don't like in it. And I will say about, in terms of, you know how I feel about it. But like, I do agree that I don't think that there should be this one-sided thing
Stigma.
where women are cast aside or cast out and publicly shamed, humiliated. Like, it's disgusting. I don't think that it's good.
Yeah.
So I just feel like these establishments need to come forth and try and project people to be more liberal, be more open, especially like schools and stuff. Schools is bound. Did you do sex education in school?
Yeah, I think I did it.
I don't even remember. To be honest, I don't really remember doing sex education in school. I think it was very lightly. I think maybe it was touched on in secondary school. It was in primary school. Obviously, I don't think it was.
I think I did. I remember doing. I did it in primary. Yeah, like very basic.
I don't think they told us about it basic.
And then we did it again in like year 8 or year 9.
Like when I was younger, I really didn't even. I was very naive to it when I was younger. Like I didn't because it was like it wasn't implemented in school.
Yeah.
It wasn't really spoken about at home.
It was just sort of something you
Yeah,
kind of
but
like
then
laughed about with your
and
friends.
that's what I think is dangerous, because if it's not something that's spoken about, then you can find yourself hearing it for your friends or through this, and it's just like, oh, okay, okay, maybe this isn't. And sometimes you need to be sat down and actually, do you know what I mean? And I'm like I said, like I probably more had conversations like with my older sister. But if I didn't have an older sister,
who would you have spoken to?
Well, I probably would eventually spoke to my mum or whatever. But I think it may have been. I may have started doing my own thing. I may have started exploring without even. Do you know what I mean? Because people in school were doing. They've been doing their thing.
It was different for us because we didn't have like the added pressure of
social media.
Whereas now
it's even
these
more.
little 13-year-olds can go online. They go on Instagram or go on Twitter. They can see what's trending, and they might be clicking on, oh, what's this? Do you know what I mean? So that all of this stuff is open to them, and I don't know if there's enough tools that are being provided to help them navigate it and really, I suppose, childproof them.
Yeah, it's funny to even talk about the sex education in school, because one thing I remember is with contraception, I didn't actually understand contraception fully until I'm sure I was probably about 16, 17, and it was a conversation with my doctor. Do you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't even like it was something that I knew about from school. I don't know what the curriculum is now, but not from my parents or at home. It was something that,
through
through my doctor
clinic.
And I think that parents do have a responsibility
100%
to introduce these things to children. And you know what, it might be a bit of it's probably awkward for the parent as well, especially you can imagine like single dads that have daughters. It's not something you really want to talk about, but it's so key.
100%. 100%.
Or at least giving them if you're not comfortable speaking about it with them, then ensuring that there is someone that they feel comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Like if they've got an aunt or something, and you know they might be a little bit more close with them, and they've got a better relationship. Just give them that little segue, because I think for most kids, it's not a easy conversation to go to your mum, like, mum, how does this work? Or some kids will be fine doing that, but not everyone is. So I think as you said, it's a responsibility as a parent to start those conversations. Even if your child's not going to be honest with you, you're establishing that foundation so that eventually they know that, okay, regardless of what my mum's going to say or whatever, I can be honest. You know what I mean? I can tell her this, and she's going to give me some good advice, honest advice.
Well, so, even in terms of like being a girl and taking contraception, you know, you guys will know the effects that it can have. Hormones can send you a bit crazy. You can be emotional. You can put on weight. I think that was, you know, you go through all of those things, and if you're not communicating with like people close to you, it can. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's damaging. It can damage. Like, I remember it made me put on. I put on so much weight. Like, honestly, I feel like my mom definitely knew at that point.
But don't you think that, like, when you go to the doctors and stuff, they're so quick to
give you anything?
Without even really educating you on. And one thing that I took upon myself is like, no, I'm gonna actually go and research. I mean, if you're trying to give me this, I'm not just taking it. I'm gonna go and search.
One thing as well that's very good on the research is Reddit. I know it's very like, obviously I take everything with pinch of salt, but I found that like it was a good place to get
honest opinions,
and different experiences. So I feel like young people don't really know about things like this. I think it's a bit of a
Reddit, Quora, really good platforms to hear real life experiences and be able to take from it. If you haven't got someone, because not everyone's gonna have someone that they can talk to about these things, or someone that they feel comfortable. Not everyone's comfortable even talking about it. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know what's on the curriculum. Do you think this is something that they should put in the curriculum at school?
Definitely.
What do you mean?
Like talking about contraceptions, different forms of contraceptions, the effects that they can have.
Or
and
even
obviously, because we're talking about young girls. What about young men? What's in the curriculum for them? Talking about contraception.
I don't think they're very.
Well, I suppose they do it in the form of sex education, but I think, for me, I don't know how much it has changed, so I don't want to speak like naively, but it wasn't as in depth as it should be. Like, that is it's a life tool, and it's something that most people are going to engage in. So I think all of the stuff surrounding it, you should have the tools to navigate it a little bit easier, and then maybe we would avoid a lot of these unwanted pregnancies or a lot of these STDs, you know what I mean? And now it's like rather than putting more into it, they're taking it away. They're closing down so many clinics and stuff. Like, they're putting funding into other things. This stuff is really important. Do you know what I mean? And it's not going to ever change. Sex is always going to be part of a day-to-day life. So I think it is important that there is a bit more of a focus surrounding it. And maybe, as you said, in school, part of the curriculum, so that at a young age, you're learning these things. You're learning like the art of consent, like knowing how important it is to ensure that.
That's for a different episode anyway.
That is definitely for a different episode.
100%. And to also know, like, as obviously young women and young men as well, but like what you're comfortable with, what's right, what's wrong. I think if you've not had those conversations, maybe you're a bit naive, so you're just a bit more like, you go along with things out of like pressure, under pressure.
You'll be the one that's really, pushing something that someone's not comfortable with.
Because you don't know.
Say no. And these young people, they're so heavily influenced by social media. I feel like maybe in school they need to start talking about social media. Because I feel like young people look to social media to get a lot of their information and probably about sex. You know what I'm saying? Sex, contraception, so on and so forth. So
revenge porn, all of them things.
They had to make a law about it, didn't it? Because it was becoming quite common in schools. And that's scary. That's very, very scary to think. So I think probably schools definitely need to take a more active stance in social media, and sex, like the education of sex and everything around it.
Providing them with the means to know what's really going on, and actually encouraging them to speak openly and openly seek that advice, and just providing safe spaces, I think. Because regardless, even if you're not talking to them about it, they may still be doing it, or they're still going to want to try it. They're going to be curious. So I think just allowing them to have
that's why that Amber Rose, like, we need something like that in the UK, honestly. Like,
we do. Maybe we should
Oh yeah, let's do it.
No, seriously, because I feel like things like that really like inspire people.
100%.
You never know who you could like touch, and there's a lot of young girls. I just feel so bad for them because there's just so much pressure.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're just looking at social media as gospel, it's just like, God forbid.
No, I think more work needs to be done. But as you said, like things like the slut walk, schools enforcing the curriculum.
Could definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, I agree.
Well, guys, thank you for watching this episode. You know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe, share, and our Instagram is Down to Mars Official. Yep. And our YouTube is Down to Mars. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.
See you later. Thanks for watching.